Let's take a look at the power of Adobe Premiere Pro. Before we even dive into the nitty-gritty and all the different signs about getting started, I'm going to dive in and show you how to stabilize a shaky footage in just a few clicks. Now you can go ahead and download any video clip, or you can create your own. I'm going to do this on a video clip that I shot at a friend's wedding using my DSLR camera, and it's kind of little shaky and not so great. So let's fix that in Adobe Premiere Pro real quickly. Open up Adobe Premiere Pro. If you've never opened it up, don't worry, we're just gonna going over settings in the future lessons. All you need to do is click on New Project, and this will pop up. You can call this a shaky project. I'm going to go ahead and give OK. Keep the settings as it is. Adobe Premiere Pro will open up and your windows might not look like what I have here. It's going to take a while when it's going to load up all the Dockers and windows, right? So this might be a little different than what I actually have here. But okay, we're going to learn how to adjust all these in future. All you have to do is right now look for the panel called Project Shaky. So this will appear somewhere right here, and double click right in here and it will open up such dialog box you can find in the video here. You can just open this one, and there I have the shaky bride and groom video right there in my project. Now let's add this to the new timeline, or basically a new video sequence. All you need to do is click and drag. As you can see, drop media here to create sequence. I'm going to release this here. And there we have our footage. By doing this, a new timeline opens up and we can click through the timeline up here. And this one here as well. So the duration go up further or back. You can just press spacebar to play that, but make sure this is activated. The spacebar, and it will start playing up the video. So let's make this footage not so shaky. I'm going to go to the FX window. In case you don't have this, you can go to the Windows menu, and you can access it from here as well. You can use Shift 7 to pop up this somewhere around in the window, and you can just type in here warp, W-A-R-P, warp, and I have this warp stabilizer effect on the distort. Let's click and drag that, and I will put that on my video clip. Release, and we see all sorts of controls and text buttons appearing right here. Don't worry about all that. You will notice that there's little time as well. It's gonna take and stabilize the video. It analyzes the clip and trying to think how to stabilize the footage and how should it make it not so shaky. Once again, it will stabilize it. We can go backwards and play this through. As you can see, this video is now smooth. It's completely different than what we had before. We can easily see what we had before by just turning on this effect, or turning off this effect. Now I'm going to play this video by clicking on this, and that is going to disable the effect for a while. And now if I click that, you can see how shaky this video is. Just go back here and click here again, and this is with the effect on, which is kind of smooth and buttery. with the warp stabilizer on. We can even take this a step further, changing the result from the smooth motion to no motion. Click on here, result, and choose no motion. Go back. It is going to stabilize for a while depending on your system, and it will come up with this final result. It is going to restabilize, and it will probably have to crop in a little bit so it can make sure that there is no motion. And when we play through this and click, just one effect and there is a huge change in that video. We're going to learn about starting your new project, settings you want to choose, and make sure we're all set up for success with the right panels and understanding the layout of the program. So when you open Premiere Pro, you will see the screen like this. Now I have a bunch of projects that I've worked on already, and you can see here the names of the projects that I've been working on. You won't have to, if you won't have that and you're opening up for the first time, you won't be able to see the list of the projects here. To start a new project, you're going to click on this new project. Here you can, if you recently worked on a project or you want to open up a project you have in your files or your external hard drive, you can click on open object and then find it from the list files. You can just even double click on the project file from your documents or finder. I'm gonna have opened up a new project dialog box here, and this is going to open up the panel like this, at top of which we have here is the name. We can call this Premiere Pro. And then you choose where you want to save it from the browse. Select this. I'm going to save in this folder. Then we have some other options to take care of. Depending on how fast your computer is, you can use the GPU acceleration option if you have it. If not, it's okay. You might just have a little bit of issues if you're trying to edit big, large 4K footage. For video display format, choose timecode. You might want to use feet or frames if you're editing an actual film that was shot on film. But for most digital projects, timecode is good. Display format or your samples is good. Capture format, DV. Keep it this one, and we'll write like so. We're not going to be capturing anything via Adobe Premiere Pro. This is if you had a camera on a deck plugged into your computer and you wanted to capture footage from a tape for scratch this. This is important though. For me, I typically save all of this in same as project. This means if the video, the renders, the preview, the files that are created that Adobe Premiere Pro creates when you start a project, when you add effects, when you make changes, when you auto-save your project, like all those files saving where my actual project is. I don't want it on some back library of the computer. I want it easily accessible. So I always want to choose same as project for these. When you're happy with your settings, with the name and with the location, just click OK. And Adobe Premiere Pro will open up. Now, this is probably confusing if you've never opened up Adobe Premiere Pro. So here we're going to learn what these main windows or panels are. We're going to learn how to customize a view so that yours looks like this if your window doesn't look like this, which it might not. One quick way to get your window or your program to look like mine is to go up to the Windows menu, workspaces and choose editing. That's the workspace we are going to start out with, and we're going to learn how to customize it. To understand what all these panels are, I'm going to open up a project we will be working on, which is called Anthony Carvajal short documentary. I'm just going to open recent and this one. Actually, start in the bottom left of your project panel. So all of these windows have panels. Some of them have tabs behind them. So here we have the project, Anthony. The front. Behind there's effects. And if you click on the effects panel will pop up. The project panel is basically below your documents. It's your organization panel, where you import your files. It's where you create new files like titles or graphics. It's where you keep everything organized. Behind it, we saw it is an effects tab. And this is where we have all our video effects, audio effects, and transitions. Right to that of the project and the effects panel is the toolbar here. It includes all the tools that you have for editing your footage on timeline, which over here is to the right. This is the timeline. It might seem very confusing, and you don't need to be worried about that. You will learn how to do all of this. You just need to know that on the top of the timeline, we have V1, V2, and V3. These are the layers. You might not have these many layers when you open up Premiere Pro. These are all video tracks. Below on the bottom half, A1, A2, and all these are audio tracks. You can adjust the size of the track or really any panel just by hovering the line on the edge here. Or the track and clicking and dragging. You can see me doing it right now with this panel and this one as well. All of these can make things smaller so you can see all the 3 audio tracks, and there's actually 9 video tracks we're using, and that's a lot, and it goes from 0 seconds to 1 minute. You can see the seconds here and the milliseconds right here. Over on the right are our audio monitor here. So if I play through this, I'm just going to turn off the audio, but you can see the audio playing right now. And audio that was bouncing up. So it's a good audio monitor to use. It brings up here in the program monitor. As I play through, this is the final product, at least the product we're using on down here. So everything we add to, you can see Anthony being funny right now. Here for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge threw in the bikini. Though it would be funny, and we're going to learn more about the story and what's the project throughout the lesson. So yeah, he's kind of very extroverted and a funny guy. So this, you can see we have added all these kinds of things. We have added graphics, we have added transitions, and we have added motion to photos, and we have added, you can tell, but we have added color correction, adjustment layers, titles, and so many things to this track. And that's what all these different blocks are: video tracks, graphics, title, color correction layers. We'll learn all of it. And up here in the program monitor, this is what's happening in your timeline. These are the buttons that will allow you to control your while you're playing your video track. Pressing spacebar allows you to play or stop. You can press these buttons too and realize that I'm just skimming over a lot of these different buttons. So there's so many buttons that I'm not going to explain right now. So there's too much going on. Now up here on the left we have the source, effect controls, audio track mixer. I'll show you how to open these panels and close panels in just a sec. Source monitor is where you have your preview clips. So down here, if we have any folders of videos, if I open up the interview folder, then I double click on the first clip, it opens up in the source monitor. If I open up the music folder, double click on this, and it will open up the waveform clip, pops up in here. So here we can check it out, the effect controls. This is where we actually change how effects look or the settings of the effect. For example, if I'm going to select this, let's say this layer, then or any of these layers, then we have a video layer, and you can see when I click on that, you can see motion, position, opacity, time remapping. All those tabs are open up. Some of these come included with every layer that you put on your timeline. Something like lumetri color effect, that's something that I added afterwards. That's an effect down here in the effects panel that we have added. We learn how to do that as well. And the last one is audio track mixer. You might not have this open, and if you don't have it open, let me just show you how to do that. Let me just first close it. You can close any of these panels by right clicking on this and choose close panel. So if you don't have the audio track mixer open, you can go up to the Windows menu, click the audio track mixer, and there you have it right there. Opens up and that opens up the audio track mixer, and might not have opened up right here in this source monitor panel here on top left. So to customize your space, let's go back and do that. So in here, we want to move this track mixer, click and drag right here. As you can see, I have click and drag. So maybe I want to put this here in behind effects, so I can put that as well. You want to click and drag and put this within here, so it comes up within this document. I can drag around and move it. So when you do that, you have this little highlight option added as well. So if I click here, it was going to be, it'll be like be on the side of this. So you can see this drags on into this panel. If I want, I can actually add it to the top and add a completely new panel on the right, bottom, or on the left. So see what it happens when I click and unclick that over here when it's highlighted in the right. Say here, a new panel opens up here. So if I want it up on the top left, you can just click here, and there we have it. And put it inside. It's getting way too space here, too much space. Okay, this needs a little more space though. So if you're following on, it's probably a lot easier to play around with this and understand how to do it. You can resize, as I mentioned before. You can drag these tabs to the left or right, or you can just adjust the order of these tabs. say I want audio track mixer before effect controls, I can just drag here and make this like so. So now you can set up your project to look like my setup right now. So you want your project panel with the effects. You want your timeline down here in the bottom right, program up here, and then source monitor, audio track mixer, not audio clap mixer, the audio track mixer, and the effect controls up in top left. To save this workspace, if that never get messed up, I can just go up in here, go to workspaces, and you can go in here, save a new workspace. You can type in the name here. You can type my workspace. Just abbreviate it to my WS. You OK. So if you choose a different workspace in case you bump up into something else, and you can just go back right here, going to workspace, my workspace, and you'll get back the original workspace you originally set up. So you can have a bunch of workspaces in here. As you can see, there are different workspaces here: production, video, hive, still single monitor. Now Phil is a friend of mine. He used my computer or opened a project on my computers. It saves those workspaces as well. Now we're going to learn how to import and organize our footage. Now that we have a little bit of a better idea of what these different panels are, let's go ahead and import our footage. I'm going to just drag this up a little bit. And so we can see more clearly. To import media, there's lots of different ways we can do it. We can double click on here, or we can just go up in the file menu, import. We can use shortcut Control I. Or another way is just to simply drag and drop your files from the Explorer. So let's double click here, and I'm going to go back to my resources folder in the video clips, and here I have music, photos, and LUT. We'll talk about all these things later. Well, I'm going to start up with the video clips. You can start, just find that one and click here. You can select multiple, just holding the top one, holding shift, click on right one, last one gives me multiple selection. If you want to have specific one, hold Control and select all of these clips, the ones you want to import. I'm just going to select all of these and say import. So that imports all of our video clips into our project. Say organize as we go. And now let's create a bin or a new folder, and click here and say, you can use this by Control B as well, and then type the name. I'm going to call it video. Maybe I just did the wrong renaming. I have to rename this one video. For now, I'm going to select all of these clips and click and drag and put it within the video, and this one as well. So, and within the video. And I'm going to close this. We can open and close these folders while we drop down toggle on left hand side. Easier way to import a folder is just drag and drop it. You can just go in here, resources, and you can just drag and drop and go to your Finder. Maybe I want to click this here, photos, copy. There. You simply click the photos folder and maybe the music folder, click and drag and add it right like so to the project. You can see that it has photos folder and it also has a music folder that I'm going to drag in. It's all copyright free music, and that you can see. You can use this on your commercial or personal projects. So all these files we'll import, we'll learn about a lot later. We can organize the video even further, or any of these files further. And add a new bin that's called B-roll. B-roll is any of the video, photos, or graphics that you can cut away, and you can intercut with the main shot. For example, in the documentary, your main shot might be your interview. The center might be your main shot, and you might cut away to some action footage or some kind of action video that describes more about what the person is talking about. Let me just open up the clips to show you. So we have the interview A and interview B camera. These two are interview clips, and then I have a B row, which is an extra footage that we shot that shows more about the person's life. That's a scripter. Maybe this one shows the person's life here. It's just an original footage. You can move all of these footage, and it's not the interview footage, into the B-roll. Depends on how big my project is. I might have many B-roll folders. It's actually from the documentary I'm making, short documentary for Anthony, and in the actual documentary project, we have B-roll folders for our street session, for our photo editing session, for when we have this wife, all kind of folders. And we're going to add an interview folder to put this into interview footage, maybe interview folder. We add this interviews to this folder, within the folder. So I want you to be organized so that you can find your footage when you're looking for, and that's a key thing, to be able to find the footage when you're looking for it. Try to keep the folder structure similar to how it is with the documents. So if you look at the folder, you can see I have music, photos, or video clips. Usually that is just called video actually, but I title it video clips for this folder. And that's how you keep the structure of the project file for the project in the Premiere Pro. And then sometimes I have a graphics folder. Sometimes I have an audio folder if I have some sound effects or voiceover or something like that. For here we have just music, photos, and video clips, and that's how we're going to keep it here in our project panel. We can rename these bins or these files if you want to. Say we would add more description to the photo 1 and photo 2. You can rename it by pressing enter on your keyboard, or either space on your keyboard. Just type Anthony Alarni. So you can open it up and rename this a photo of Anthony and mom. Talent show or whatever you like. Depends on how much you want to get involved with renaming. Sometimes I just want rename files, sometimes I will. Depends on how big the project is. Just a quick mention, a couple of things you'll see in the project panels are the tabs. We have the name. We have the frame rate. So there's a frame rate of the video we shot. If I scroll left the slider at the bottom, say this, we have a 23.9 kind of footage here. You click and drag and put it right like so. That's how you import and organize the footage. Please go ahead, if you haven't done already, import the footage like I have done in the supplement in similar way, and that will save you loads of time and organized